Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today we're back on with the old C16 repairs. And let's start off with this socket. Now, as I was saying in the last video, I wasn't sure whether that was meant to be an empty socket or there was meant to be something in there, and I'd heard things, I'd seen something online that it was a PLA, and indeed that's correct. There should be a PLA in there. And fortunately I do have one, being that I've got a Commodore Plus4 and that uses exactly the same part. And I've actually found I do actually even have a spare. I've got one in my box here. I actually realised at first it was for a C16. I thought it was a C64 one, but it's that one there. It's 251641. That's the PLA for the C16 and Plus4. So we do need a PLA in there, and I did try last night when I was still fiddling about with this thing. I did try the PLA out of the Plus4 in here, and I still couldn't get this board to do anything. All it shows is that basically that black screen that we saw previously. So we've definitely got a fault actually on this board. I did try then the TED, the CPU and the PLA back in the Plus4, and they work fine. So I thought I'd have a look at some of the other boards I've got. Now I pulled this board out next. Now this board has got a definite fault, as in it is going to need a new 7805 on it, because it's giving out with a good accurate voltmeter on it. It's giving out 5.8, 5.9 volts out of the 7805. So I just stopped the tests on that one straight away until I can change that 7805 there. So that leaves me to the next board. And this is the next board that I pulled out, and I did the basic checks on this board as well, and I was getting a nice steady like 5.1 volts out of the 7805, so I was happy there. I did some basic checks around like I did on the first board, just to see if there was nothing really erroneous on any of the sockets. I couldn't find anything. I stuck the PLA in there, I stuck the CPU in, I stuck the TED in, connected it all up, powered up, and it come on. And I could even, I switched it off, I connected the keyboard up, switched it back on, and it didn't come on. And I unplugged the keyboard again, and tried switching it back on, and it come on again. So I thought, oh well, it must be a faulty keyboard. So I got another keyboard out, and I plugged it in, and I switched on, and it come on. But unfortunately that keyboard was no good. It had a stuck key on it, so none of the keys is that one with the escape key, and it's actually glued down. So I unplugged it. I managed to clear that stuck escape key, plugged it back in, and it won't come on again. And I switched it back off, and I went round all the chips, and I pressed on all the chips and switched it on, and it come on again. And I was able to type a basic program, and your usual hello world kind of program, and it ran no problem. And I switched it back off again. I thought, I'm going to connect my SD to IEC up to this, because I've filled a card with all the C16 games I could get my hands on, and the C16's SD to IEC file browser. I've got all them on a little 2 gig micro SD card, so I thought, oh, I'll try and run that. So I connected all that up to the serial port, and I stole 5 volts off the board to power up the unit. And I typed the loading commands, and it couldn't find it. So I thought, we've still got something wrong, I think. Obviously it's not working with the disk controller properly. So I switched off and I disconnected that. And I tried switching back on, and it won't come on again. And I went over the switch and I checked all my voltages, and all my voltages were right, but I still wasn't getting the 5 volt. I still wasn't getting anything on the screen, even though I had all my 5 volts where it was meant to go. So I switched off again, and I tried taking all the ICs that are socketed out and putting them back in. I switched it off, switched it on again. Still dead. still absolutely just a black screen. You can tell it's doing something because you can see some banding or artifacting on the screen. It's not just as though it's not getting a video signal. It's outputting a video signal, but there's no actual graphics there or anything. So I thought, have I killed something? So I pulled the PLA, I pulled the CPU, I pulled the TED, I put them back on the Plus4 board, fired it up, and it booted up first time. So, unfortunately, I can't get to my other Plus4 at the moment, or else I'll borrow its keyboard for now. But with that, because I haven't got a working keyboard for the Plus4, I can't make sure that the SD2IEC is definitely working on that side and that them chips are alright. So, obviously we've got a board which isn't doing anything. We've got a board which is now not doing anything but intermittently was actually working. And we have this one here which has got a bad 7805 on it. So I think, well, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to swap that 7805 out, and we're going to see, we'll do some tests on this board and see whether this board is actually going to function. Basically, I'd really like to have one board functioning. It'd be great if we can have one board that's functioning, and we can socket things up on it, and then we can basically use that as a diagnostics board to get the other the other three boards. I've got yet another board in the other computer, which I haven't looked at yet. That's one there I was doing a 64k RAM upgrade on it, so I've really done some work on that already, and I don't actually remember why I stopped on that board. So I will look at that. I really want to get one of these boards that are virgin. I've not messed with them yet. Working first, and then we can use that to repair the other three boards. So I won't bore you with showing you taking off yet another 7805 and putting yet another 7805 on here. So I'll just pause you while I whip that off here. I'll put a new one on. We'll see, make sure that we've got the 5 volt correct then. Like I said, that's putting out about 5.8 or 5.9 volt. It's too hot. So it's just, basically it's worn out. And I will get back to you as soon as I've done that, and we'll carry on the testing on this board, and hopefully, keep your fingers crossed, we might be able to get one of these boards to actually function correctly today in this video. So back very shortly. Okay, there we go, and we've got the new 7805 in there. So I think what we will do is we'll go and test and just make sure that we've got a nice happy 5 volts on there. It's not too high still. And we will take it from there, and then hopefully we'll have a little bit of a test around the board, and we'll see if this board indeed does anything. This board may still have faults anyway. I mean, we really don't know. It's had a little bit of a whack. So we can straighten that up slightly. There we go. Oh, I'll have to put a fuse in there as well because I pinched it for the for one of these. Yeah, get the fuse out of that. I'm sure I can order some of these. I might have some in stock somewhere. Right, there we go. Let's put some power up it. Give that some power there. And then there's my crop lead so I can connect the ground up. Where's that gone? I swear things grow legs during the night, you know. There was a yellow crop lead on here yesterday that I used to connect the ground up to the thing, and I've not taken it anywhere, and the bloody thing has disappeared. Oh, and that one's no end on it. Ah, there we go. I think this one's a good one. Oh, it's here. Now I find it. Yeah, that's typical, isn't it? Now I find it. Got it. And you go and dig another one out and then it appears. There we go. Connect that to there. And we'll go on the I'll just point you up at the yeah, at the meter there. We've got that set onto the 10, it's DC. We'll just go straight onto the output of 7805 and we'll see what we've got there when we power up. Did we get anything then? I heard something go click. 7805's there, that's okay. Let's go on to the 100 volt scale and we'll just check the input at the fuse. Make sure that's alright. Oh, I think we've got a faulty switch on this one. Is the switch there on? Ah, that's off. Is it? Let's have a look what we've got here. Well, that's not right. I think we've definitely got something wrong on this one. Because now I've put that new voltage reg in. Now that should be, well, hang on. It helps if you've got it on voltage, doesn't it, rather than on kiloohms. That's probably not done my meter much good. Right, let's try again, shall we? There we go, that's better. So we've got 5.04 now, which is a lot better than the 5.8 that we was getting with that other 7805 in there. Right. Let's have a look at some of the other sockets, just to make sure we're happy. We'll go on to the RAM. And then, yeah, we've got 5.3 there. On that RAM, 5.3. Just make sure we've got things that look reasonable on there. Which we have. We'll go on the CPU socket. Again, 5.3. Go on that read-write pin. And that on here is stuck at 1 point. Yeah, that's okay. They all look alright. Let's have a look over here. Yeah, I can't see anything on there that looks particularly out of place. There's nothing stuck high at like 5 volts anyway that shouldn't be at 5 volts, so that's really what I wanted to check. So I think what we will do, again, I'm forgetting to wear my anti-static wrist strap. Fortunately, at this point, like I said, we're not dealing with them delicate ICs when we are on the anti-static mat, but we are staticked up now. It's just, that's not too much in the way, is it? Let me just move that cable. I have to be mindful of cables dangling down from the shelf on my bench, dangling in front of the camera and looking a mess. Right, I've got them in there. Now where have I done with the Plus4? Let's get them boards out of the way for now, because we're not looking at them at the moment. We're going to concentrate and see what this one will do. In fact, we'll connect the video up to it now. Well, it's easy. And we'll push that back there. And we'll bring in the, let's call this the Stump Plus4. And we will, that's the PLA in the Plus4. It's the last IC on this side. Let's have him out. He's got a very slightly bent leg there. Let's just straighten that out. We don't want that breaking off. There we go. There are modern replacements for this PLA, like there are for the C64's PLA. So, and they aren't particularly cheap, but like I said, it's not the end of the world if you do need a PLA. I think there's possibly a couple of EEPROMs as well. I think that the OTP, the one-time only programmable ones, that you may be able to use in certain circumstances. But there's certainly a modern plug-in replacement for that. Like I say, it's not particularly cheap, but it's not the end of the world if that IC goes. It's not like these two. Well, like I said, there is now hope for the CPU. It's not a complete workaround, but I've seen, there's one guy I've seen, he's got an eBay store and a website, and like I said, he's created a little board that fits in either a C16 or a Plus4. And it allows you to use the CPU out of a Commodore 64. Is that the 6501? I think it is. Is it 6510? is it 6510, 6510 in the C64. It allows you to use one of them, but you'll lose the ability to control the tape drive motor from the Plus4. It also involves, I think, changing one of the ROMs. I think it's the kernel ROM that he's basically hacked. He must be a clever chap. He's basically hacked the kernel ROM to allow it to address the other this alternative CPU. Apparently, apart from the motor issue, it works fine. So I mean, that's at least one hope, because I do have more TEDs than I do have CPUs, and like I said, with a modern SD card solution, it wouldn't be a huge issue, that I don't think. And it would mean a working computer rather than a not working computer. So that's something I'm possibly going to look into. Like I said, unfortunately, they are rather expensive. No, sorry, they aren't actually rather expensive. It's the PLA that's rather expensive. They're actually quite reasonable. I think it was about £15, plus a bit of postage on it. I think it was around that kind of money. For the CPU, the adapter board and the ROM. It is actually something, I must admit, that I had toyed with in my mind a while back myself. Being that there's not a huge amount of difference between the two CPUs, but I would not have the abilities to rewrite the kernel ROM like this chap obviously had. So that's about as far as I ever went with the idea. Swap that round. And we'll see what this there we go, that went in nicely. We'll see if we get any luck with this board here.
Your package ready?
Sorry about that. Okay, right. Right, that's everything in there. Let's just move that cable, or else that's going to be in the way. Power up. Right, so let me get you on the screen, and we will. Right, we're on the screen. Oh, hang on. I need to switch channels, don't I? There we go. That should work. Let's switch on and see if it does anything. It's basically doing what the other one, the first one that we had did, is where you get some. Basically, it's showing that the video process is running, but we're not getting anything else up and running. Let's just give that another try. No, so that seems to be doing exactly the same thing as the first board that we worked on was doing. That's disappointing. Although it did just appear to do something then, that was quite interesting. Did you notice the characters just jump on the screen for a split second? Let's try that again. Let's try doing a reset. It's trying. It's almost as though it's, again, it's like it's got no PLA in there. Let's just try let's try reseating the PLA. Let's take it back out. Yeah, the sockets are definitely alright. In fact, let's just try a tiny bit of contact cleaner. I wonder if... I haven't actually tried that yet, I must admit. I'll shove a bit of contact cleaner down there. I mean, if it is, I will probably end up replacing the socket, but... these aren't very good quality sockets, I must admit. They're single wipe sockets. The CPU is in a nice dual wipe socket, so I should get you down here. You don't need to look at the screen while I'm doing this. So I've just pulled that up and give it a quick spray of contact cleaner. I would just say that they're not particularly brilliant quality sockets, these. At least the one that the TED's in isn't. No, these aren't either. They're like single wipe cheap sockets. As where the CPU is actually in a better dual wipe socket. And I think it's the same on all these boards. Of course, we don't know whether these ROMs, we could be worth our while changing these ROMs out for the set of ROMs from the Plus4 as well. Because the basic ROM and the kernel ROM are identical, it's just that the Plus4 has an additional ROM with the inbuilt software on it. Let's give that a quick try. I'll take you back up onto the screen. Let's flick that on. Nope, exactly the same. So we just got that same black screen. But at least our voltages on this board are good now. So we've solved that problem. It could be, I can't see it because it wasn't a huge overvoltage, but it could be that overvoltage on the board has actually damaged something. On this board. I wonder actually if I do. What I'm going to do actually, because we can then rule them out as a definite possible cause of a problem, is I'm going to take the Plus4 board, I'm going to repopulate this. I'm then going to try all 8 of the ROMs, so all the 4 basic ROMs and the 4 kernel ROMs in this board, and just ascertain that they're definitely alright. I think that's probably one of the best things I can do. It's a pity I can't do that with the RAM really, but obviously, like I said, the RAM from this isn't compatible with the RAM on the C16s. But once we get one of the boards working, we can basically socket up one of the RAM chips and pull them off and test them all. It's a good way of testing them, that. Or I could pull out my Speedmaster, because my Speedmaster can test DRAMs. So that's another possibility we can possibly do. Anyway, first things first, let's get the ICs that we need off this board. So that's the PLA. That's not going in very well. Let me just whip that back out again. Just this PLA socket on this is looking a bit. Well, it's not too bad. Just slightly bent out of alignment. That one socket there. That's gone in all right. There we go. That's better. That's gone in. Let's have the. CPU off. Pop that round so it's the right way on this board, and we'll have the TED off. We'll have to repair that other TED that's got the missing leg on it as well. Just make sure that that is indeed okay still. Right, we'll stick you in there. Let's just make sure that this board is definitely still working. I know I'm doing a lot of testing to make sure it still works, but I'm that precious about them chips. I just definitely don't want one of them ICs to die unexpectedly. So hopefully this should still work. So let's connect that up like that. I'll just get you up onto the screen. And no, oh dear. Just a minute. Just make sure I have a. Right, it definitely helps when you're doing that to plug the transformer in and not give yourself a heart attack. So let's make sure that is off, yeah. We'll plug that in and let's try again. And there we go, yeah. So we can definitely confirm, like I said, the CPU, the TED, the PLA are definitely working. And we can now use this, basically, we'll use that to test all 4 of the basic ROMs and the kernel ROMs. In fact, I'm going to pause the video, go and have a bit of something to eat. Then I'll come back. I'll probably do one on camera, and then I'll do the others off camera, and we'll take it from there. So I'll be back very, very shortly. Okay, I'm back. That's better. I've had something to eat. Right. Without further ado, I've got the Plus4 still set up there, and I'll bring this. This is the last board that we worked on. It was like, it's basically doing exactly the same as the first board, just getting the black screen. Like I said, it looks like the TED is at least firing up, because we are getting some form of graphics off it, but it's not actually displaying anything. Right, what I think we will do is we're going to try the 2 ROMs, the kernel ROM and the basic ROM, and don't ask me which one's which, because I must admit I can't remember which one's which, but we can see by the code numbers. This is a MOS 318004, so we find that on here. 318004, that's that one there, and I presume that will be that one there. But we'll start with this one. Oops, I don't like it when they come up like that. There we go, that's out. Let's put him, we'll put you to one side where you're safe. We'll take it out of this this board. There we go. Make sure I put it in the right way around. There we go. Let's, I'll just get you up on the screen, and this hopefully should just fire up. Oh no! Ah, that's interesting. So we've put that ROM in it, and we're not getting anything. Let's take that back out, and we'll swap it back over with the that's the one, isn't it? We'll put the one that was out of here back on. Come on, out you come. Just to make sure that there's nothing else that's causing us problems, which there shouldn't be. There we go, he's back in there. That's the right way around. Let's just try switching back on. And again, that works again. So it looks like we do have a faulty ROM on this board. So I'll put that to one side for now. I'm going to take exactly the same ROM off another board. I'm going to take it off this board, which I did initially have working. In fact, no, before I do that, I'm going to take the other ROM off here, which is the 318006, and we will try that in here. Remember, this is the board that had the 7805 that was given an over voltage, so it could have dead chips on it. These ROMs could have been fried. And let's just double check. This is a, what is this one now? 318006. Oh, and I can't see a 318006 on here. Oh no, sorry, yes it is, it's that one there. It's just that the writing on it's a little bit on the smeary side on this one. So let's take that out, and let's try the 318006 from this board. I'll just get that the right way around. That way around. We'll put him home like that, and let's give that a try. And now that works, that's okay. So we know that the 318006 on this board's alright. Let's stick you back in there. But when we tried the 318004 off this board on the Plus4, it wouldn't boot. So let's try that IC off the other spare boards we've got, and we'll make sure we've got a good one, and we'll try that on this board with the ICs in it again, and see whether that'll get it to boot. So out you come. That's tight, that one. Dear me, he was tight. Oops, out you come. No, there you go. Sit. So that's this one, the 318004. Let's tell him out and put him on there where he's going to be safe, and we'll put this one out of the next board in here, and we'll just ascertain whether this works or not. It should do, I think. So this is the one that this is the board that initially last night when I was messing about I did get to power up, but then it decided it wasn't going to behave. But like I said, then I tested these chips back in here and it worked. Right, let's have a look at this. And we'll power it up like that. Hopefully it'll power up. Oh, that's not good, is it? That doesn't look very healthy. Let's switch that off again. Let's try that again. Sometimes I mean, this hasn't been recapped, and I think sometimes the reset line might get there a little bit late or something. But yeah, that's proof that the IC works. In fact, we'll take that back out. We're going to put that in this spare board. So we now definitely know that this board has got two. Okay. I need more than one camera. We now know that this board definitely has two working ROM chips, because both them ROM chips have been tested in the Plus4 board, and we know that they both work. Just as a quick final one, I'm just going to retest that one that we couldn't get to work in the Plus4 board. I'm just going to do one final retest on it before I deem it that it is a faulty one, and I'll mark it up as such. So I've put that back in there. Let's just it's sod's law that it was just a bad contact and it'll switch on this time. No, it doesn't. So we've definitely got a faulty one there. So we will take him out of that board. So there he is. I've just removed him from the board. So that is definitely faulty. And I think we'll just take a marker pen. Oh, I hate this. The cheap copies of Sharpies, and they come apart if you're not careful. Got it out anyway. And we'll just put a cross on it like that, just so I don't get it mixed up with the other ones. I'll sit that to one side for now. Right, I think what we're going to do is we're going to have another go at powering this board up. We will pinch the ICs again off the Plus4 board. So let's have the PLA. I'll just move that so I don't trip over it. We'll have the PLA off. We'll put the PLA on. There we go. And we'll have the CPU. Okay. That's the CPU in there. And finally we will have that TED. That's the TED out. There we go. So that board's all nicely repopulated. Now let's get the Plus4 out of the way. Oops. What was that? Oh, that was that. What was that chip? That is... Ah, that's a good chip, isn't it? Yeah, that needs to go back. That's not one with a mark on it. So where do I need to put that one back in? Ah, back in there. So that's an... I think that... Yeah, that's an unknown, I think. Or is that a good one? We'll put it back in there for now because we are going to go through and test all the rest of them. But we know we've got a good set in here now with ROMs, and we know that them ICs are all right. So let's take it. Let's take it from there. Right. Let's put some video up it, and let's apply some power. We'll get you up on the screen just to see. Hopefully, it'll do something this time. Let's power it up. We'll switch on. Unfortunately, no, exactly the same. So that we do have an additional fault on this because it is doing exactly the same. We've basically what we've done now on this board is we've ascertained that that, and that are all good. They're absolutely fine. Things that I've read that can be an issue is obviously RAM. You can have RAM problems with these. We've got a few options for the RAM problems. Like I said, it'd be nice if we had a fully working board and we could just stick the RAM chips in it and see if they work. That would be my ideal solution. Apart from that, like I say, I could dig my speed tester out. Which does have the function, does have the ability to test certain DRAMs. I think it can test these. It should be able to test them anyway because they're fairly common. Yeah, that. In fact, I wonder if because I might actually be able to just stick 64s in there, 4164s in there instead. Actually. Being that all that's the difference is there's a few extra address lines which just won't be used. I think it would actually function. Have I got any tested ones I could try? That's a wonder. Right, well, I think I'm going to leave this video here for now. Obviously, we've ascertained we do have a good set of the main ROMs. Anyway, we know that all them five ICs there definitely work. We also, in fact, no, I'm not going to finish the video just yet. I'm just going to try the board that I did get to power up last night. I'm just going to have one last go with that, which is this board here. I think it's the same revision. Yeah, it's the same revision. It's just I wonder if it was made in a different plant or something because they've used a slightly different coloured shadow mask. But they were both 1984 Rev A boards. Only difference I can see is let me just get that out of the way. The only difference I can see is that this has a modification on it. And I'm pretty sure it's probably a factory mod as well. We've got a couple of diodes there. Bridged together and going over to the end of a resistor there. It's got the same pads and traces on here, but it doesn't have that modification fitted, so I'm not sure what that was about. It shouldn't really cause us too much of an issue. But yeah, let's just give this board, we'll take them ROMs out there and we'll transfer everything off this board onto this board and we'll just have a see. Just have a see if anything Oops. And I do want to test these on the Plus4 board as well. So we'll put the ones that we're taking off up here, and they can be tested on the Plus4 board, and then we can be absolute sure that the ROMs that we're using do work. Because obviously we have now ascertained that we had at least one bad ROM. I will find out whether that's the kernel ROM or a basic ROM. It's easy enough to look up online. So let's get everything transferred over onto this board. I'm not so much mindful about doing this now, especially considering, you know, I've checked. I know I've no nasty voltages. I know I've got this one's got the original 7805 on it, but it's been tested. It knows it's only giving out 5 volts. So, and I couldn't find anything nasty on anywhere on the CPU or the TED sockets when I did have a test around. So obviously we still have to be mindful of anti-static, because that's what's going to kill these ICs now, is if we're careless with them, and we don't want to be careless with them. We really don't. The next thing I'm going to do, actually, and we'll probably do it on this board, I don't know, is we will get the old oscilloscope on the case, and we're going to do some board checks with the oscilloscope, but that will be in the next video, I think. There we go. It would be nice just to fly around the CPU and the RAM and what have you. We might actually even, with the scope, be able to spot something erroneous possibly on the RAM. I could even perhaps, I don't know, I've got that logic analyzer. I must get into having a go at getting working. That's this thing here. It's a Thurlby logic analyzer. I did a video about it when I picked it up. What I don't have is the original software for it. I've got something modern that someone's knocked up, and I need to knock some breakout boxes for it so I can actually use it, but yeah, that's one for the future. Anyway, that's that connected back up. Let's get that one out of the way. We'll connect this back up to the video, and we'll see whether we get anything out of this board. Like I said, I did get this board to actually run last night, but it was intermittent. Like I said, you fiddled about with it, you fannied about with it. Sometimes it would come on, sometimes it wouldn't, and then it just quit coming on. Like I said, I've checked all the basic things. It won't come on at all unless I put a fuse in there. Let me just remember I pinched the fuse out of it before for that other one. I remembered to put it back in, so it wouldn't have worked, would it? Right, let's pinch the fuse out of that one. We will stick it in there. We will stick it in here like that. We will connect some power up like that, and we'll switch on and we'll see if we get any response. We've got something there. We've got an interesting flash of colour like that. I haven't seen that before. Most interesting. But no, it's still dead as a doornail. Absolutely dead. So we've definitely got. This is probably why these boards got shoved in a box and nothing dealt with. I think I'd run out of TEDs or CPUs, but these are obviously why these boards went right to the bottom of the pile. Is that it weren't something as simple as, I mean, that's the first thing I think I did with these things when I got the whole lot of them, was basically just, once I got one working, I could ascertain what of the socketed chips in the other ones worked and what didn't. Made 2 big piles and started building up computers using the known good chips. That got most of them working, and obviously there's ones that have got that's going to have a fault on the socketed chips, and as I was just doing them as and when, like, obviously they went right to the bottom of the pile, and that's what we're dealing with here now. So I've heard that this can cause issues. It's the 6529B. I believe it's something to do with the keyboard. But I have read on some of the forums that apparently that can play up and that can cause some issues. Also, like I said, we could have a RAM. It could be any of the. Well, it could be a lot of the 74 series logic on here that could be the issue. It could be capacitors. I did say, in fact, do you know what I think we'll do? I'm going to take one of the other boards. Because I'm not sure about that mod there. That's the only thing that slightly bewilders me, is that mod. In fact, yeah, there's another, there's 4 diodes been fitted. Where we've got them that are basically just a wire with a little ferrite bead on it, I think. 2 of them have been removed and they've got diodes in the places where we've just got 5 there with ferrite beads on this. And then, in fact, it looks like that might be something to do with the serial port. So it could be something to do with the serial port, that. And that's interesting, that's the board that when I did get it working, I couldn't get to work with the SD to IEC. It couldn't seem to read from the serial port. So I wonder if there is an issue on that. I might try on one of these. See, all 3 boards are now basically doing exactly the same thing. I might try on one of these boards that doesn't have any of them kind of bodge mods on them. And yeah, this is probably the cleanest and tidiest board. I think I might work on I may well work on this one, and what I might do is actually just do a recap on it, just to completely rule out the capacitors. I mean, there's not many of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's not a big job. It will rule them out, and it will mean we'll use this as our test bed board then, and we'll start taking ICs off it. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. In the next video, we'll do a recap on this board. So we'll take that off, that off, that off, that off, that off, that off. We'll take that off. We'll test them actually and see exactly how bad they are. But we'll put new ones on, obviously. I think we'll socket the RAM up. And I think we'll socket that up there. I don't know if I've got a replacement for that. I may have in some of my stocks. I will have to go over and hunt round for that. But we'll whip that off. Like I said, we'll whip the RAM off. Hopefully we can test the RAM using my other tester. Hopefully. And we will take it from there. So I'm going to leave this video here for now. Hopefully, like I said, we've made... I don't know, it probably doesn't look like we've made a lot of progress, but at least we've ascertained that and that definitely work. So our 5 main ICs, we've got a proven set of. It's just the boards that they're going to go on now which are causing us the problems, which is kind of what I did say when we started this project off, that they were like the dregs that have been left behind, and they obviously would have some... I weren't expecting just to shove chips in them and them work. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoy this little update on the project. So thanks for watching and goodbye.